I am joined now by David Pakman, host of The David Pakman Show. David, a pleasure to talk with you. Thanks so much.
Always good to be with you.
I suppose I just kind of want to start out here because a recent Roanoke College poll showed both President Biden and former President Trump in a statistical tie in terms of polling as it relates to the race in the state of Virginia. And of course, Virginia has been a reliably, I think it's safe to say, Democratic state, at least in the most recent presidential elections. A lot of people kind of thinking about why this is the case. I've talked to Cenk Uygur, for example, who is, I guess you can say, kind of your colleague in the progressive media space, who says, President Biden should be able to carry this election very easily. Of course, if we look at polling, that is not the case. A lot of people kind of skepticizing as to perhaps what the issue is here. Some people saying perhaps it is the war in Israel. And that's kind of what I want to get at here. As it relates to the war in Israel, a lot of people are criticizing President Biden for perhaps not taking as definitive of a stance as some people perhaps would like. How much, again, is that kind of reluctance to take a definitive stance, do you think, harming him in terms of some of the polling numbers that we're seeing here right now?
I think that any of these issues on the margins might have an effect, but the truth is that most Americans aren't paying attention to any particular issue beyond what is affecting us right now, the economy, so-called kitchen table issues. When you look at polling like a recent Siena poll, a Harris poll, and others, even young voters who are sort of theorized to care the most about the Israeli-Gaza war sometimes rank it as the 10th most important voting issue for them. And in the Harris poll, I believe it was the 15th most important issue. So I'm struggling to really see the evidence that that's what's hurting Biden. I mean, listen, this is an unfortunate reality, but if this were a sane country, Trump would be losing by 50 points. Unfortunately, in a lot of ways, this is not a sane country, as evidenced by the fact that Trump won in 2016. He almost won in 2020. We also don't really have one person, one vote in the United States because of the Electoral College, where each state is assigned a number of electoral votes tied to the population, but not totally directly. If you vote in Wyoming, for example, your vote is worth many times as much as if you vote in California or New York or Florida or Texas, some of the super high population states. So on a popular vote basis, much like Joe Biden won by, I believe it was 7 point something million votes in 2020, this would not look the way it does. Almost certainly this election will come down to about 250,000 votes, somewhere around there, 350,000 votes in somewhere between 3 and 5 critical states. I ultimately don't believe Virginia will be one of those states, but no matter which side of this you're on, you would be concerned by the polling because it's not obvious your guy is winning, no matter who your guy is. That's for sure.
I want to ask you too, because of course, some of the recent struggles for Republicans have just been unity within their party. They have so many different factions, whether it be the Marjorie Taylor Greens and, the Lauren Boeberts of the world, or I guess the now in many ways former members of the Republican conference, like people Adam Kinzinger, Liz Cheney. There's really a large variety of examples here, but Democrats have had the reputation of being united, right? Whether it be in the House or in the Senate. But how much does this, kind of I guess, divide over the issue of Israel, because you have people like AOC and the Squad who are very much pro-Gaza, pro-Palestinian, and then you have people like John Fetterman who are really on the complete other side of the spectrum on this issue. Do you think there's any degree where this kind of fractures that reputation, or again, I guess Americans just aren't paying attention? What are your thoughts here?
Couple different things. First of all, the 435 plus 100 in the House and Senate, respectively, it's 535 people. Certainly very different than just, folks in Wisconsin who are going to work and, raising kids. And then in November, they're going to go out and vote. What AOC and Fetterman both have in common is they're both clear that we've got to vote for Biden in November. Both AOC has made that clear, and so has Fetterman. So I think that it's great to express disagreements with our leaders, and all of that is absolutely fantastic. Everything I'm seeing suggests that Democrats are overwhelmingly going to vote for Joe Biden in November. Again, when it's expected to come down to 250,000 votes in 3 to 5 states, any one thing could make the difference. Think back to 2016. Was it James Comey holding a second press conference about Hillary's emails? the decision maker? Was it foreign money coming in to promote one candidate or another on domestic social media? What about the Access Hollywood tape? I mean, when it's so close, anything could be the difference maker. But big picture, I'm only seeing evidence that maybe in Michigan, this Democratic fracturing might have an impact. I'm just not really seeing it anywhere else.